Your intro, bro. You be like,
Well, firstly, before today, you've been the one typically to just throw it to me like, we're on. Oh, hi. Welcome back to Cook Boots.
Cook Boots.
Yes, very special episode today. Firstly, this is the first time Kaya and I are in the same space. So, as you all know, typically we do this virtually.
Yeah.
We're in Atlanta, our home base, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
The epicenter.
Yes. And on top of that, we have the pleasure of being in the dungeon, the original Outcast home, where a lot of classic recordings for Atlanta and hip hop in general were recorded. So this means a lot to us in terms of the culture and for us as speakers and voices of our generation.
Yeah. Yeah, and on top of that, I think because we always try to look at things on a spiritual level, the way this came together, where we are in our lives, we just want to take a moment to just kind of check in, be transparent, vulnerable, talk about what's going on in the world, talk about what's going on with us. That's one thing that I really value about the group Outcast as a collective is their individuality, their authenticity. I heard a term this week, emotional authenticity. Emotional authenticity, that changed my entire perspective on communicating with the world, because it's one thing to be emotionally mature. It's another thing to be honest about how you're feeling in each moment and how you're interacting and be mindful and aware. Mm-hmm. So I think we bring that awareness to this episode. Get some good stuff.
That's what came to my mind when you said emotional authenticity, because it could be our intention, but sometimes you're not even aware of, how a thing strikes you, or where that comes from. What's the root of that energy? You just kind of used to seeing where you end up. When this happens, I'll be pissed off. Okay, but how you get it on that path? Where does that come from? Why is that upsetting to you? An incident this morning with us. We going into transparency. I couldn't logically make sense of something I was told. So what I realize is once that happens, I feel like I'm being lied to. And I might not have all the variables. It don't make sense to me. This person got to be trying to pull the wool over my eyes. That's something I have to sort through. Why is that my go-to? Why is that a defense mechanism for me? So I think in this episode, what we want to kind of dive into is, again, where we are in this process, what we share with you all, and what it means as individuals to be outcasts, to be on the peripheral of mainstream. What part of your world do you feel like you're going against the grain, but it's worth it for you? You want to stay 10 toes down in that space. It's scary, but it's necessary.
So I got something to say.
Period. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll start.
All right.
Specifically for me, being a plus size woman in this world, it's always been a struggle to find my mainstream beauty, right? Like find my comfort in my own skin, and it's something that I've learned to lean into, but at the same time, it still has its moments. And this week, it really showed up a lot because we had a photo shoot this week. This week, or in this season, I'm trying my best to be consistent with my health and my wellness, working out like a conviction, like it doesn't move, it doesn't break. Nothing is going to cancel my spiritual time with my body in the gym. Nothing is going to make me fold as far as nutrition goes. Or even what I've learned also, and it's been more of a struggle, getting enough sleep. Because I know that sleep has a big thing to do with metabolism and weight management, hormonal balance, and all those things. So that's probably where I feel the most outcasted, if you will. But, man, when you have a commitment to principle, you are able to stay the course in spite of what's going on around you. And that was really tested this week because we had a lot of moving parts. There were things that weren't necessarily my typical schedule. Being a remote worker, I have a lot of flexibility most times. This week stuff was tight. I had to, take stuff out the closet, throwing it in the car, and back and forth and all that. And it's like you still go to the gym every day. You still honor your commitment to yourself. But something happened yesterday at boot camp. We go to this gym, which is dope, Effect Fitness. She attends virtually. I attend in person. She gonna be in person at some point again. And yesterday, because spirit just be moving, we were there for Saturday boot camp, and I walk in, and my sister has a spot already secured for the bricks. If you know, you know. And it was the first time that it was a large brick, because there are 2 levels of bricks at Effect Fitness. And it was the first time.
It's like cinder blocks.
Yeah, cinder blocks.
And exactly. It's, you got the one level, you got the stacks.
Right. And I remember when the owner shifted the standard in the gym and was like, we're no longer doing short bricks, we're doing high bricks. And then like, oh, well, point me to the back because I'm staying where I'm at. And so today, with just having a more mature mindset and more character, I didn't shy away from the challenge. Spirit said this is the time to trying to step out, and the opportunities being laid before you, rise to the occasion. And it didn't mean that I didn't have feelings though, and I was emotionally authentic in that moment with myself about how I was really feeling. I'm insecure. I'm uncomfortable. This is foreign territory. And that's when I realized all those thoughts were in response to what I thought other people would be thinking. It had absolutely nothing to do with my capacity or my capability, because what I know is there was a time where I couldn't do the regular level bricks consistently. So we just stepping up the game. I don't know why I expect to be perfect and never get off the brick this time when I already went through the process of conquering the first level. I'm going to go through the process of conquering the second one. And I had all the tools, and I had to pray, and I called on my ancestors before we got popped. I swear to God, every single one. I said their names.
Yeah.
And all was well because I sustained and maintained. I did the best I could with what I got. In the moments where these knees weren't on their begging, and I couldn't get up on that brick consistently with that track practice, I gave you track practice from the ground, hardcore, because that's what I had at the moment. And if I continue with that, the process will do what the process is supposed to do, and I will be where I'm supposed to be. So I think that was like my outcast moment this week.
That's good. I guess, like how you went into health and fitness. For me, it sounds more blanket and an umbrella, but it's my mentality overall. There's a word for it. I can't think of it right now, but it's about thinking about what you're thinking about, and just metacognition. So that's my big thing for me. And what I noticed, it was kind of leading up to this because I experienced it in DC, and I also experienced it the other night. Just realizing the impact that media and society has on my perspective. And in these 2 particular cases, it was my perspective of young people. I do courier or rideshare services where, I'm interacting with people all day long, from businesses to local neighborhoods to whomever. And in these particular cases, I was dealing with, young Black and brown children. And what I had to check myself for was the perspective that I had of them before they entered into my vehicle, that they may have been dangerous or done something wrong, just based on their appearance. And that in itself is difficult for me to say. With the amount of cousins, siblings, nieces, nephews that I have, and my allegiance to who I am in my culture. Like, to say the least, it's fucked up. I'll tell you about the one in D.C. There was a young lady's name on the account of who I was supposed to pick up. So I'm thinking I'm picking up an individual young lady. When I pulled up to the space apartment building, what I call it was a bunch of little pooh shiesties out there. There's like 6 of them sitting in the breezeway. And it didn't even cross my mind that those were my passengers. Because I'm looking for, let's say her name was Cinnamon or Candy or something. I'm looking for Cinnamon. So I hit my buttons. I've arrived. Hi, it's Tanisha, your driver. Where are you? All my buttons to be like, come on, let's ride, because it's pooh shiesties out here. So, as I hit the buttons, I presume the pooh shiesties see it on their phone, or either Cinnamon lets them know, hey, the driver's out there. So, 6 pooh shiesties proceed to get into this vehicle, a hybrid Corolla, 5 in the back, 1, 2, 3, 2 left, and 1 in the front with me. I'm in DC. I'm not familiar with this space. I'm on Southeast. I've heard some things. Okay? Let's do it, Jesus. Let's ride. It ain't far, but it could end up being a long night. Okay? So I'm taking up the street, boop, boop, boop. They talking trash, little banter, because they about probably 13, 14-year-old young people. Young guys talking trash, silly jokes, you squishing my balls, all this and whatever. So they asked me in the middle of a road, freeway, interstate situation, can you drop us off before the stop? I said, oh, is it a setup, Jesus? So 2 of them get out. 2 of the Pushites gone. We're down to now 4 Pushites. So then the other ones in the back say, well, can you take us to this 7-Eleven? So in my mind, the 7-Eleven is just a turn, make a quick left, and it's right there. The other ones had gotten out in the little interstate area. So I'm like, are they about to go do something at this 7-Eleven? And the other, the first 2 to get out were smart enough to not get dropped off at the location, but the other ones want to get curbside service for whatever they about to do. So I'm like, oh Lord. So I drop them off. The next, 2, 3, the next 3 Pushites get out. I'm down to 1 Pushite. So now I'm still nervous. But the final Pushite wants to go to the actual destination that Cinnamon had called the ride for. So I'm still nervous because I'm like, what? I'm still thinking, is this a setup? Where is he taking me? What's about to happen? So did they get out because they know something I don't know and he's sticking to the plan? What's going on? So I'm driving them, and I'm like, okay, I'm nervous. Let me make some small talk. So, why didn't you get out with your friends? And it seemed almost simultaneous. He's like, hey, turn right here. Soon as I asked that, he said, ma'am, my mom said I have to be inside tonight. And I was just like, whoa. Respectful, following the rules, adhering to his mother's request. All things you would not correlate to the thoughts I had, to the images I'm fed on a daily basis. I felt so shame that I looked at them young men that way. That was not okay. And I'm in terms of being malicious and combative, I'm harmless with those thoughts. Imagine a person who is not, who's on defense for these young men and what they think they represent. That's the danger to me. And it just really made me look at myself like, wow. You consider yourself conscious, you consider yourself aware. Again, you had these people in your family, they're your friends, they're young people you know and speak to, and you still had those thoughts. You still went there. It's very frustrating. Like, bruh, this is what we're up against. And it's so dangerous because it's intangible. It's not really something you could grab. It's imagery. It's perspective. And that is like, where do we begin? Even here in Atlanta, I'm hearing, man, I forgot what this representative's name is. He wants to ban the ski mask overhead thing. What? You think it's going to make crime go away? There wouldn't be a Jesse James if it weren't for the bandana. What? What are you talking about? So, yeah, just digging into that. How are we all thinking and seeing one another? Those things influence, because those are young, impressionable children. If people keep seeing them a certain way, they don't have a foundation to resist that. At some point, they could begin to be what we think we see in them as a community, as people, as a society.
And the way these things go together, in both of our situations, it's all about perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The way that society or media creates a picture around beauty standards, or the way society creates a picture around black people in general, especially young black male youth.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets even, like, there's even more implicit bias, because then they start to create legislature and rules that reinforce the notion that you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're inherently evil, all these things. And then those people see themselves that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if the person sees themselves that way, then they will manifest that negative behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what came first, the chicken or the egg? And this is something that I'm concerned with, especially this week. We have been talking about, the Young Thug case and the Rap Act, and we watched this documentary called As We Speak, and it just really broke down the process of street griotism, if you will, storytelling, what the poetry that is hip hop, and how the criminal justice system or injustice system is now villainizing our language, villainizing our culture, and that catch-22 in that space where there are people who are talking and telling the truth about what they do. There are people, and there's this desire and this inherently black urge to protect your people. It's like, no, people should not go to jail for art that they create. People should also not murder
and talk about
it in your art. How do you manage to? But you have to check but the first thing and the most important thing is to check your mind. And then even with the Diddy stuff, it's not even that 4 out of 5 black women have been sexually assaulted. 4 out of 5. Another thing that I realized that was emotionally overwhelming this week was the triggering, consistent push, consistent release of information about this case.
Yeah, public. It's a picnic. It's a public lynching. And the thing is, no one's saying these people are completely innocent. But what is this, like, again, public lynching? What is this massacre that they want us to keep witnessing over and over? I've never seen anything like it.
I've never seen anything like it.
I mean, here's his home after we raided it. Since when do those images get released?
In the post-documentary years later.
Like, what is that? I mean, here's the person out of the woodwork. He shot me in the face, not Sean. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's just all of this. It's overwhelming. And I feel like that's full circle. What I was referring to in terms of how I saw those children is because it's keep pushed on you all the time. A crime was committed. This is what they look like. This is this and this. And it's truth to it. But it's a narrative where this is the truth or the facts that you constantly share. I don't get to see, what did Donald Trump home look like when y'all raided it? What the Jeffrey Epstein stuff? Where his stuff?
Where is his stuff?
The flood. Where's the flood for that? That's where I think, all the things that you're saying, it just all goes together. There's this narrative amongst us that, black people don't stick together. The such and such live together and do this. The such and such work together and do that. To me, that's poppycock. Yeah. We feel a way even when we know Muggs is guilty. Why are they doing that to them? Why are they slandering them that way? That's instinct. That's tribal. When we hear a crime is committed, who did it? What they look like? Yeah, because you want to know. Do they look like me? Mm-hmm. And if they did, what do you feel? Shame, guilt, connected. It all weighs us. Yeah, because we're communal, naturally. And back to the Rap Act thing, just to touch it real brief, I don't think that should be your first piece of evidence. Find cold, hard evidence first.
Do your job.
Yeah, do your job. And then, if it supports it, perhaps it be used. But it's art, seriously. It's art. It's the First Amendment. It's always bang, bang, bang the competition, or the Constitution. You want to bang it. Is it unconstitutional with this and that? America. But when it comes to us, you could just throw it away. stand no more.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a First Amendment right, freedom of speech.
And I'm going to say something, and this is going to sound left field, but this is like the danger of integration. I'm sorry.
Woo.
This is the danger of integration because you now have, like, understand, when you look at other cultures about how they stick together, the things that they're up against to overcome collectively look very different than what black people have to overcome collectively. Especially when it comes to simply this mental enslavement. It's not that other cultures don't have to see themselves represented in negative ways or through racism or through, particular stigmatisms, but the systematic destruction of black people is so overwhelming in this society that there are levels and nuances that we have to combat from every angle.
Right. That's even the intention behind integration. Y'all want to give us the old textbooks. Y'all got 3 of our grade levels in one classroom together. Now, there are ways in which that was beneficial because the 5th grader could then begin to teach the 4th grader, the 4th grader, the 3rd, and so on. But we wanted better conditions was the reasoning for the integration.
And not even just the better conditions, but now the remove, like the seat at the table ideology where we are now using the standard, right? And we're using the marker against what white people do. I'm talking about as far as character. I'm talking about as far as the things that they have. It's the idea to imitate. And the way that we find value in ourselves is to align ourselves next to whiteness.
Yeah.
And that's not real at all because now we have black billionaires who have the same kind of character that white billionaires have.
Yeah.
That's where we missed the mark.
Yeah. But again, that's still back to the perspective piece and buying into them being the standard.
Correct.
Which is also a form of not just assimilation, that's enslavement.
Yeah.
That's bondage.
And they bombard us with all of that. From these perm commercials, the perm commercials back in the 1950s or 60s saying, or skin bleaching ads for skin bleaching cream.
Yeah. You were humiliated for yours. It's the way it looked. Denied opportunities.
Little nuances that creep into your subconscious and manifest in real-time situations. So when it's time for you to face adversity, when it's time for you to overcome, when it's time for you to have a grasp of what the honorable thing is to do, what the principled decision is to do, your brain has already been submerged in foolishness.
It's on autopilot for that. To me, that goes back to Mr. Williams, Jeffrey.
Thugger.
Young Thug. Sir, you working with Elton John. You doing big things like you global with it. Your whole voice in art, it's an instrument. It's a work of art. Why you gotta still be out getting people shot, whatever the case, the alleged charges? Why is that a part of your life? Because you don't just hit it like a switch.
Who are your elders?
That's who he believes he is. That's the narrative and definition of not just Young Thug, but Jeffrey Williams.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he do. And we watch the transformation. We remember Jonesboro South, Cleveland Avenue. We remember this guy. You look totally different. You're worlds away from that. But the behavior remains the same. That's to me, the metaphor for that for me is I seen a beautiful Panamera Porsche pulling into the Burger King on Northside Drive. What the fuck is you eating at if you drive there? Why? Why you not at Sprouts? Why you not at Whole Foods?
Seven Honda.
Why? Seriously. They don't go together. They don't go together.
And I get it. That's that process of awakening and consciousness that has to come along with guidance and wisdom of people who've done things before you to unearth those seeds planted by what white supremacy told you were. We all have to face our bad. We all have to face that ideology. That is our process. That is our liberation. The same way enslaved Africans had to run from the South across the Mason-Dixon line, they had to go through trees, and someone else had to take that journey beforehand and guide them along the way and let them know, oh, there's a rock right there. Be careful. Oh, you got bit by a snake. What it look like? Oh, I got herbs for that. Oh, the babies can't cry. We got to put them to sleep. Oh, I'm ready to kill all you niggas if you're not coming. because you ain't gonna sabotage what we got going. All that process, that was systems that developed out of the bondage of enslavement.
Resistance.
That was a protocol that had to be brought about. And that's the same thing we need, because they just moved the yard marker. They just moved the goalpost at this point. It ain't physical slavery as far as, well, it is, but it ain't physical slavery in the same way. It is systematic. It is mental. It is self-induced. It's now on autopilot. Now you do it yourself. Now you pass the beliefs down to your children, and now you uphold those mantles and that.
You fight for it.
Yeah, you argue against white, black African culture, black culture. You argue against unification. You argue against men and women getting along. You argue against including all your people. You argue against those things because the messages that have been implanted in your mind. Now we manifest these situations that are just like, even watching Young Thug on the news and watching him in the courtroom and watching his physical body deteriorate. He's starting to blow, gain all this weight, because this is what happens to black people in America when they are left to the systems that are in place here. No matter, even if he gets out, his health, his mental state, all these things are now impacted, traumatized. And we're not even getting to the part of, is he guilty or not? We're simply saying, this is what happened when you took a black man and put him in the hands of white government. Look at his quality of life now.
Before he even got to the white government, the handlers, the industry. You made a great point. Where's his elders? What we're seeing from his behavior was that his elders were only like street elders, pushing the violence.
Yeah,
he didn't have elders in place saying. I mean, well, we did hear something about him purchasing a significant amount of land and things like that. But again, going back to the dietary changes, coming off of drugs and addiction, giving back to the community in a certain way. Not to say that he doesn't, but just staying away from behavior that could wind him up, as you say now, back in the hands of government. To me, 180, that's the true outcast. The true outcast is, let's break the mold of what steps everyone is taking once they get their deal, once they're in the spotlight. Back to 3 stacks with the flu. Outcast. He did it again. He remains the outcast. People, I know me personally, I was a little hot. I know we ain't been listening to this. Stream of water meditation. Where is Andre 2000? Where is Benjamin? That's what I was thinking. I'm sorry. That's what I was thinking. I wanted some in Slum National Underground. I wanted that. Outcast again. He understands, or he has chosen and selected for his personal self. I'm too old to be in that game. That's not where I am anymore. And maybe this is what the people need. Like you said, meditation. Go to sleep. Rest. All the rah-rah. Just stepping outside of what anyone tells you should be and being what you know you should be doing.
And I think, actually, Andre 3000 is the perfect example of mental liberation, because we're taking someone who grew up in similar settings, right? But look at what eldership does. Look at what he had access to be able to create a different reality, to where now he's producing something that the world actually needs. You actually need that out. You need to sit down, calm your ass down, and listen to that motherfucking album and get your spirit right. Because we don't need more shot him in the head. We shot him in the head, killed him, fuck that bitch, that time on my jewelry. Fuck, we don't need to them that don't look like what everyone else is expecting.
Right. Don't look like basketball.
Right.
Don't look like
don't be that. Oh, first time you get a check, I'm about to go buy the swoop. You don't have to buy the car if you don't need the car.
Or the chains.
You damn sure don't need the chains. Or you could just interrogate and investigate what the desire is, like why you want it.
Yeah. Just
ask yourself why you do anything.
Yeah.
And if the
perspective
is not because it's my spirit, then you need to check that. Because now you're going to be living again. That's still enslavement. Your chains just look different now. Now your chains has got diamonds on it. Maybe diamonds that came from somebody else's bondage. Uh-oh.
That's our energy. Oh, I was killed with this one.
Yeah.
someone else to witness.
Ironic, and someone else got killed over this one. That's the power. Yeah, you're gonna kill them, and someone else got killed. And you might kill more, because now you got little young people looking up, saying, "Oh, that's the standard. That's what I need to have to be of value, by any means necessary." And now you might get some young people in a lift car looking to take someone's life over something material. That's how that process continues to perpetuate itself. It works. It works. But also, spirit still moves. In spite of all of that, there are still pockets of consciousness. There are still people who are aware. There are still people who are resisting. There are still people who are fighting. The outcast still, I believe, reigns supreme. I don't never get distracted and think that Trump and Biden and all them got stuff going. No, they don't have real control. Even some of our black celebrities who we thought were untouchable. Like I said in the first episode, we knew something was up with Diddy. We collectively all knew something was up. We just didn't think we'd ever see the day where there was a domino effect of destruction in his accountability in this magnitude, and public shaming at that. We never thought we'd see that. Never thought we'd see that. But now we see it, we experience it, it's happening, and that lets me know that at the end of the day, spirit reigns supreme.
Yeah, it's gonna do that. I think for young people too, it makes it easier, and it is the possibility. It's up to the adults in their lives, the leaders, to push this narrative. Because I think what you hear with young people a lot of times is, we were poor, we didn't know them. To me, that means values were set somewhere else. So it is that possibility still. You know, to maintain youth, to maintain that innocence. In the digital age, though, we have to monitor what young minds are being fed. I mean, you even
and my mind.
And even Steve Jobs said, I would let my kids have an iPad. Now you got to question yourself when the person who created a thing says he would not give that thing to his children. But this is what we give our children all day, to be quiet, to at dinner tables, to step away,
and for good behavior. Like a surprise.
Those things are highly addictive.
Ooh, I almost gave my niece one. Jesus. See, spirit be moving.
Yes.
Literally last week, it was her birthday. I was like, I'm gonna get you an iPad. Yes.
So yeah. I think the outcast, the biggest thing is the sight. The sight and walking in that. How does that look for each of us? I think that's going to be different. I think different people are starting from different places. But I believe, all of us individually working towards it, we can end up in a beautiful place.
Yeah, I mean, pull on your insight, Understand that everything is not what it seems, that what's given to you and fed to you is not always good for you. Most times it's not good for you. The gems have to be discovered. The quality things have to be discovered. Challenge everything that's been told to you. Read. Go to the library. Go to the libraries of any of your local HBCUs and see what they got going on. Get off of...
Go for a walk.
Just go outside into the woods.
Yeah, straight up. Just maybe take a little break. Even if it's an hour or two, just say, from this time to this time, I can be on my phone. See what happens.
The itch is good. I know what happens.
Well, watch yourself.
Go through some withdrawals.
Yeah, okay. But you'll be aware of that. And then you dig into that. Why I got a trip? It only was an hour, 24 of them in a day. I can't go an hour. Why is that? What's up? What you seeking? What you looking for? What you think you missing?
And this device ain't been around but a couple decades, if that.
Baby, I remember I wanted a pager real bad. My mom said, no, damn. But thank God for my mother, because I also wanted a Jerry curl. Okay.
And those pictures do not exist.
I'm just being transparent.
That was great. Outcast.
And I wanted a curl so bad. Not color purple. Coming to America just came out. I wanted that girls. Like Daryl.
Mr. Seeley had a Jerry curl and I didn't see it. I missed that.
My God.
Not Mister with the curl. Soul Glow, Mister.
So there, I wanted a girl like Daryl. Daryl had the girl. He had the gorgeous.
The things
The things we see. I was sold that. The king of soul glow.
Everyone agrees that the Jerry Curl era was not one that he shed black people in the best light. But you couldn't tell them nothing back then.
Ooh, that's funny.
Y'all couldn't wait. There was no product in the stores ever. Heads just wet, pneumonia. Oh,
They didn't have any curl juice in the store.
I'm just saying that's how much. Look, yes, sir. That's how popular it was. Y'all was all day just.
It was everywhere. Deion Sanders had a curl. Why wouldn't you want a curl? Who else had a curl that was popular? I don't remember, but it was lit.
God forbid these children be like, ooh, I need to catch a Rico. I need a Rico charge.
That's a thing.
I know.
Some people say, all the black men in my family went to prison. I want to know what happened there. I feel like it was a rites of passage. Those are things. I mean, we joking, hee hee ha ha, I want a curl, but for example, in my family, someone young smokes vapes. So the people are upset. Everybody says I smoke. That child is not going to do what you say. That child's going to do what you do. What? Are you serious? You about to punish, or whether verbally or physically, this child for imitating what he sees his family do? If it's not good enough for him, why are you doing it? Why are you setting the stage and the example? Like, to me, I asked I asked a Sunday school teacher when I was a child. I was like, why does stuff in the Bible got the TH on it? And he was like, I don't know, Mr. Paul. He said, I don't know. But he went and he looked it up and he came back to Sunday school and he was like, it represents what I found. It represents to continue. Thou, do it, whatever. So it was a continuation of a thing. I said that to say, look at the word youth. Your youth are you continued.
You just want to bust somebody upside the head. It'd be so good. Bust.
So the judgment we have, the fear that we have, how upset we are. Take it to the mirror and change the example that you are. Because that's all they are. Is you on 10. You turned up.
Caboose. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us.
We love you.
We love you guys. We want the best for ourselves. We want the best for our world. And we're going to get in where we fit in. We continue to talk and address popular topics through a spiritual and comedic lens. Because it doesn't have to always be super heavy, but sometimes we do have to have serious conversations. So, until next time, stay black. Peace.
Peace. The boots.